Hi guys, my name is Jessica. For those who remember, I'm a third-year graduate student in the bioengineering program. Today we're here in the multidisciplinary research building to talk and answer some of the questions you guys sent in about housing and life in South Bend. So we're going to break this up into two sections. The first section will be on general housing and life, and then the second section, since so many of you had questions about on-campus graduate housing, we'll talk about that then. So the first question is, what's the average a graduate student typically spends on housing per month? And so this really depends on your budget and your living stipend. We have taken a poll, and it ranges between $300 to even $900 a month. Housing on campus falls within the lower end of that spectrum. Off-campus housing, if you're looking for a studio or one-bedroom apartment, is going to fall on the upper end. So it's just kind of what you are comfortable living with and how many people you're willing to share the rent with. The second question we have is, how viable is purchasing a house for a grad student on a stipend? And so many of the GOAs, or graduate orientation ambassadors, have friends and colleagues who have purchased or are purchasing a house on their graduate student stipend. The real estate here in South Bend is really reasonable in terms of pricing, so feel free to come and check out our resource fair held at orientation. We often ask a company that does real estate management that can help answer your questions about taking out a loan or mortgaging a house. Another student asked us, in a typical work day, when do I usually get back to my apartment? So this can vary by person and major and department. It really depends on what you are comfortable with. You'll find graduate life is very flexible. So if you're a morning person, feel free to set your hours in the morning. Or if you find your research is dictating your hours, that happens as well, especially in biology where you have a lot of cell work or animal research. Another question is, how convenient is online shopping? And I love online shopping. We recommend you guys getting Amazon Student Prime membership. It's free for the first year, but then $49 for subsequent years. Free 2-day shipping, access to Amazon Prime Video, which is on-demand movies. So feel free to check that out. Another student asked, if leasing is made for 1 year, is it possible to break your lease after 1 year or before the first term? And are there any consequences? And yes, there are usually consequences. It can be a fee of up to 1 to 2 months rent, so you'll just have to talk to your leasing agent or the community center. But it depends on the place, and it is possible if you need that as an option. Another student asked, which areas are safe to live around campus? And I know this can be relative to many people, so feel free to check out the Notre Dame Police website. They have crime maps, they have crime logs of the area, just so you can get a feel of how safe the apartment or house that you're looking for is relative to the area you're looking in. Another grad student asked, do all graduate students get campus parking? If so, where, when, and how do we get them? How much do they cost? So it's not mandatory, but if you have a car, you can do this online. You can register for a parking permit online. Otherwise, if you're already here, Mowbray Hall, where the post office and the police department are located, is where you would go to pick up and purchase a parking pass. Parking passes range, I believe, right now they're around $125 a year, and it depends which parking lot you pick in or you choose, and so it dictates where you end up parking. For parking at graduate student on-campus housing, you'd have to go to the community center to apply and pay for the parking ticket or parking permit. Another student asked what there is to do in South Bend, Mishawaka, and we are going to release a video soon kind of detailing the general activities. There's so much to do here. Feel free to check out the blog called Ask the Salmon. It's through the graduate school at Notre Dame. Has so many different options you can take a look at in terms of outdoor and indoor activities. And then the last question we got asked about general housing and life is, what are some of the most frequented restaurants in South Bend? Are there any hidden gems? Is the city bikeable? And if so, how is biking from off-campus housing? And then, are there any perks for Notre Dame students at local businesses? And so, to answer the first part, there's so many different restaurants. Please check out our downtown dinners, which we are having during orientation, to give you guys a chance to figure out what local eateries there are in the South Bend, Mishawaka area. The city is bikeable from off-campus housing, but it depends where you end up choosing housing. For instance, if you live in the Mishawaka area, it's going to be a little bit harder than if you live right next to campus, but just off campus. The number of sidewalks and bike lanes kind of disappear as you get farther away from campus. Yes, and there are so many different perks for being a Notre Dame student. The city itself is surrounded, or is basically run by Notre Dame students. So feel free to come to our resource fair and check out the coupons from local businesses that we're going to have there. But also, during the school year, students will hand out assignment planners at the very beginning. In the back of those assignment planners, there are tons and tons of discounts and coupons available to graduate students.